Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at the other of the newer 2019 Mega Dual Attack Dino Rivals figures by Mattel for the Jurassic World line. That is one heck of a mouthful, but this is the new Mega Dual Attack Suchomimus, and I'm not too sure how I feel about it. I think I'm going to have to put this one with the previous release next to each other to really decide which one is my favorite. I think it looks pretty nice. A lot of people kind of looked down on this paint scheme. I'm not really sure why, but it doesn't look half bad, honestly, in person. Of course, looking at the box, we've got the Dino Rivals logo right there with the Rex and Triceratops having a lover's quarrel and Owen being the awkward third wheel. And then you can see Mega Dual Attack Suchomimus and two images up here of the actual action features of this new Suchomimus. And then the back sports a beautiful image of the Suchomimus itself and its action features involved. And then two images down here of, again, the Suchomimus and the Stegosaurus, which is the other of the Mega Dual Attack figures for the Dino Rivals line. And then an image here showing you that the card is in fact in there. So let's pop the box open, get the card out, and take a look at the Suchomimus. I do want to say that I hope Mattel finds a better way of getting these cards inside the boxes without that tape, because it is driving me absolutely insane and nearly damaging every card that I get out. You can actually see kind of a line now that's left here of residue from the tape, which I didn't even clean off yet. So there goes that. And here is the card. Very cool image of the Suchomimus. Looks exactly as the figure does, showing some of the stats as well. And then Dino Rivals Jurassic World on the back. I love those cards, but I think I love the Suchomimus a bit more. Or do I? Maybe not. He's got a balancing issue. He does not like to stand at all. Anyway, there is the new Mega Dual Attack Suchomimus from Mattel, and he looks very, very nice. I definitely like him. Now that he's out of the package and I get a much better look at him, he kind of reminds me of like a chocolate bar up here at the top. That chocolate brown is exactly what I would see if I just opened a Hershey's bar. So I'm going to call you Chocolate from now on. That is definitely the name of this Suchomimus. He is Chocolate. But regardless, again, we have taken a look at the Suchomimus' sculpt previously, so if you do want to see a more detailed review of the sculpt of the Suchomimus, check the description. I'll throw a link in there to my previous review. We are here only to look at the new additions of this updated Suchomimus, so let's get a closer look and do that now. So the mouth itself has very nicely painted, kind of nicely painted, I'll say, not very nicely. See, I was kind of fooled because I look at the upper jaw and the teeth are painted really beautifully, but then when I look down here, it's similar to the Spinosaurus, or at least the United Kingdom version, where you see the paint kind of slopped on the jawline and not just the teeth. But regardless, that's not that big of a deal. When you do look at the inside of the mouth, it sports a beautiful pink coloration, and it has an incredible gloss on it that really gives it a very realistic and lifelike look. So I definitely like the mouth area, regardless of the slight sloppiness of the teeth. Then we move up here into the head area, and it is all primarily a yellow. And then you get to the eye, which the eye looks pretty good. And I will say that Mattel would probably have a pretty hard time missing the eye on the Suchomimus, because it does actually have a very large eye socket. So I don't think and don't expect the eye to be sloppy. No, not at all. It's very nicely applied on the Suchomimus figure. It'll be probably pretty hard to find one with missing eyes, like I said, since the eye socket is so large. You can see around the eye though, there is that same chocolate brown type coloration, but for some reason it has like a heavy gloss. And when I say a heavy gloss, I mean it's like more glossy than the inside of the mouth gloss. It's super shiny, and I don't really know why. I don't know what would be the point of adding in such an odd gloss to the face area, unless he either has just the worst cold ever or he can't stop crying. Even with the gloss, I think it still looks pretty nice, but probably would have looked a little better without the gloss. Definitely could have kept the gloss on the eye itself, because the eye has a really nice gloss, very realistic and living type of a feel you get from the eye. But that brown, I just feel like the gloss was not needed all over the brown, and I don't know the point of adding it, but whatever. Moving to the neck, we again start with that, what I said before was the chocolate brown, and you kind of get these stripes that just run rampant all through the neck, and I think it gives it a very cool, very striking look. I definitely like the look of it. Again, the chocolate brown looks pretty good as well. and really meshes nicely with the yellow coloration, which is the primary body color. And then as you reach down here into the back, you get to an area right here which kind of has a little bit of a glossy brown again, and I'm not really sure why. It's weird because if you look at this brown right here, it's a very dark brown, but then when you get to this brown, it's a very slightly different shade, like a lighter brown, similar to the brown that you actually see on the little sail area. Same thing with this, it matches that one, but then when you get back to this one, it again reaches that darker brown. So it's weird how Mattel kind of does this from time to time with their figures, and actually maybe not even time to time, on pretty much all of them, where certain parts of the body will have just a different shade, an ever so slightly different shade, and you can kind of see it here again, as the yellow on the arms is a very slightly different shade from the body. I don't know why they do that, I have absolutely no idea, but it is something to take note of. And then these brown chocolate stripes kind of just run all over the place until you get to right before the tail, and then they just stop suddenly, but luckily the paint of the actual sail does continue down, not like the Dimetrodon, where the Dimetrodon did not have that. Once it reached the tail, the paint just ceased completely, but here on the Suchomimus it does continue all the way through, and that yellow coloration runs out all the way throughout this very curved tail here on the end. The underside here doesn't sport any type of a different coloration compared to the rest of the body. You do have a few of those little splotches, like Mattel loves to add for some reason. They normally do like a black spot, but these ones kind of have like a yellowish spot. But regardless, they are there. And again, there is the Jurassic Facts code if you want to add this to your collection. The nails are very nicely painted here on the feet, not on the hands, but they are given a beautiful gloss that again makes them look very real. So other than that, that's honestly the only new additions as far as the paint. You've got the yellow color and the brown, and that's it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation. So as far as articulation and all the action features go, for the action features you've got this front here, part of the sail, you push it and he snaps, but not very well, honestly. He's actually really kind of bad at it, and even comes up slowly from it. I don't know if, like, that's pretty bad. I don't know if mine's broken. It's not very good, whatever it is. And then you've got the tail striking action here on the end, so you push that, and the tail doesn't do it so good when holding them sideways, but when he's right here, it moves pretty good, definitely quite nicely. The articulation of the figure, aside from these action features, you can see the neck does move, the jaw is articulated, the arms go forward and back and do come out away from the body. The legs, of course, are forward and back and also come out away from the body. There is articulation in the, well, there we go, articulation in the joints of the ankles, and then 2 spots of articulation in the tail. Even though we have reviewed the sculpt before, we will measure it once again. So for a size from the tail to the head, you are looking at about 14.5 inches or about 37 centimeters. And for a height, about 6.25 inches or about 16 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is the green Papo Rex, again showing you that this is a very large Suchomimus compared to the Rex, not even remotely in scale with each other, but once again should give you a pretty good idea if you do happen to own the green Papo Rex, just how large this Suchomimus is. And for another comparison, here is the blue, older Suchomimus from the Jurassic World line, and looking at them, actually, I feel like there's definitely some differences between the two. The head of mine is kind of stupid. When he comes up, he doesn't really close his mouth, whereas the older one did close his mouth, and I will say that the action feature works way smoother on the older one. The newer one, like I said, I don't know, he's just very lazy, or my thing's broken. I don't know which. The older one, however, when you pushed his action feature, snaps perfectly, absolutely beautifully. So I think there may just be an issue with the actual action mechanism of this one. And with the tails, you can see that there's a much stronger curve on the tail of the newer one as opposed to the older one. The older one just has an ever so slight curl at the end, or a curve I should say, whereas the newer one has a much stronger curve. I also kind of get the feeling that maybe the head is a bit larger on the newer one as opposed to the older one. It definitely kind of looks that way. It's not very much larger, but definitely a little bit bigger than the previous release of the Suchomimus. other than that, I think they're pretty much the same size. Again, the length actually might have been a little different on this guy had I not measured this one, since the curl of the tail definitely differentiates the length of them. But I think they look really, really cool together, and both are beautiful additions to this Jurassic World line. So this brand new Jurassic World Suchomimus is pretty nice, but I think I'm gonna have to say I like the older one better. Simply because I think the paint scheme on the older one is definitely better and closer to what you actually see in the Jurassic World Evolution game, which I definitely really dig that paint scheme. This newer one has a little bit of a brighter paint scheme, and it looks good, just not quite as good as the previous release in my opinion. The action features are pretty cool on the newer one, but again, I don't know if the snapping action with the jaws is like that on all of them or just mine, but it definitely doesn't work as smoothly as the previous release, so that is a downside for this newer one. I don't really like that weird gloss all around the eyes. I think that could have definitely been better if they did not include that gloss. Although the older one had a slight gloss like that around the eye, but it wasn't quite as glossy. This one has like an uber gloss. It's just really, really glossy. I don't know why. The paint scheme on this is pretty nice. I like the yellowish coloration, and then of course the brown chocolate on the top. But once again, like I said, it's not quite as nice as the previous one in my opinion. So it is a very cool Suchomimus, definitely a nice addition to the Jurassic World collection and Jurassic Park collection, and looks great next to the other one, so it's cool to have two different versions. Maybe you could say a male and a female, but it's not the best Suchomimus that we have so far. Once again, including the sail on the back, even though it did not have that, and it didn't even have this in the game, but regardless, it does give it a little bit of a striking appearance, and kind of draws your attention to it, making it similar to a Spinosaurus, which it is related to. So I guess we can forgive the sail for that point, but it is a very nice, like I said, nice looking Suchomimus. Not the best, but it's pretty nice. So if you do want to order it, assuming it is still for sale on Amazon and hasn't sold out and been ravaged by third-party sellers with ignorantly high prices, I will throw a link in the description so that you can go ahead and purchase one for yourself. I believe it was about 20 bucks, so you should be able to pay somewhere in that range for this figure. So check the description, go ahead and order yourself a Suchomimus, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.